of year, I had a definite best friend. Whether it was biking to school together every day, making matching Club Penguin accounts, 1813 and 1814, or attending each other's family dinners after a long day of playing, people could always count on Olivia and I as being inseparable. I knew her parents were going through a divorce at the time, but I never thought it was as nasty as it was. A couple years back, her dad had an affair. I had only known her as living down the street from me with her mom, twin brother, and older brother. I never thought the dad, whom I've never met, would have the biggest impact on my relationship with her. In 4th grade, during a lighthearted class, Olivia was pulled out to the hall by a principal. I never knew the rest of the story until this past week when she texted me and finally explained. She said that her dad had told them he was taking her and her brother out to lunch, but in reality, he was taking them away from me and moving them to Indiana. They were both enrolled in a new school the next day. Obviously, I was distraught. Not knowing how I could bike to school by myself from now on was one of my many worries. When I talked to her for the first time in over a year, a couple days ago, I realized the impact divorce can have on kids. My parents aren't divorced, but I believe I have seen one of the worst cases. Olivia promised that she would never put her kids through what she had to go through, and that she would live a life of love. Her ability to see the light through all her dark times makes me forever grateful that I had someone like her as my best friend, even if it was 7 years ago.
Oh. I believe there is no such thing as a mistake. Whether we wanted the situation to happen is out of our control. The situation is now in the past. We can dwell on this mistake and tell ourselves, I have made some awful decisions and there's nothing that I can do about them now. Yep, this is a bad decision that we will all make eventually. But instead, we can tell ourselves, let's learn from these decisions and proceed into the future with confidence. We can feel regret, loads and bucketfuls of regret. But I believe in writing out that regret. I believe we were put in these situations to teach ourselves right from wrong. And if we do not do that, then we have failed, and failure does exist, but mistakes do not.
Middle school. The most awkward experience of every tween's young life. It's where boys start to sound a little less like girls while the girls start to grow increasingly taller than the boys. It's a time in life where girls get butterflies in their stomachs just thinking about holding a boy's hand. Meanwhile, boys begin to see girls as more than cootie-infested monsters, but as the most intimidating species on the planet. My younger brother Cole is in 7th grade, and right now going to the list dances is a huge deal. But Cole began to get nervous. All his friends were asking girls to the list dance, and Cole didn't even think anyone liked him. And when I say going to the dance together, it means they have someone to stand arm's length away from and avoid eye contact during the slow songs. Anyway, he finally got caught wave of a rumor that one of the cute athletic girls liked him. So what did he do? He asked her friends to ask her to the dance for him. Yep, that's middle school. But that's what's so awesome about those 3 years. It's all about figuring out how to act around people and how to deal with your feelings. It wasn't until high school when I finally appreciated those 3 years and what they did for me. I finally became comfortable talking to boys, even the ones who were just friends. So thank you to all those boys who had to endure my painful and awkward admiration. I honestly would not be the same without you.
Thank you. 2 words, but one powerful idea. We are taught from an early age to be respectful and to remember your please and thank yous. But this idea can become lost in today's technology-driven society, which may be able to provide us with instant access and constant updates, but has just as much potential to disconnect us as it does to bring us together. It's a sad possibility to think that maybe one day only the glare of the screens in which people are glued to will be able to illuminate their faces, instead of the grateful smiles that should always do the trick. As people, we are always seeking acknowledgement for our good deeds. And what form of validation is more gratifying than a genuine smile and a thank you? There is no replacing this timeless form of appreciation. By saying thank you to someone, you are not only acknowledging that person, but also their actions, in turn reminding yourself of the good in your life. Heck, you might even go as far as to write a thank you note. Saying thank you is not only the polite thing to do, it's the right thing to do. So look up and let someone know you are truly grateful and appreciative for all of the time and effort that person has put into something for you. Say it like you mean it. Try your best to mean it, because it's the least you can do for someone who cares.
Some things in this world that I don't have time for. Things that I know that if I was given the world to do them, I still wouldn't have time for them. The first thing I don't have time for. I don't have time for the response K. If I write a novel, text you explaining the plan in detail, and then I wait for a response, and a little bubble with the 3 dots shows up at the corner of my phone, and I'm like, yes, they're responding, they care! And then finally my phone buzzes, and I'm so excited to see what they say, and I slide it open, and it says K. K, are you serious? That's all you have to say? I hope you know how long that took me to write. Okay, number 2. This is the real question. Who flosses? Who flosses twice a day? Exactly. Nobody. The absolute worst is when you have to go to the dentist for your annual checkup and they try to floss your teeth and you're just sitting there pretending like it doesn't hurt when really you're in pain and they're jabbing your gum and making you bleed. And then they proceed to yell at you for not flossing. Do they realize that I have retainers stuck to the back of each and every one of my teeth and they're trying to make me thread the special thing out to every single one of my teeth? No, I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. I only have so many minutes in a day that I'm not going to spend them flossing my teeth or have someone waste my time with the world's most unnecessary word, K. I don't have time for that.
I stand upon my desk to remind myself that we must constantly look at things in a different way. Robin Williams, Dead Poets Society. On August 1st, 2014, my Mr. Keating, my Sean, hung himself. And Mr. Williams, I don't understand why. Because weren't you laughing just as hard when your plastic boobs caught on fire? And weren't you just as proud when Will Hunting went to go see about a girl? And didn't you feel just how much suicide hurt when Neil Perry was found dead, lying on his dad's office floor? I always figured an actor could portray parts so well because he found a piece of himself inside the character. I figured that correlation to be obvious. So Mr. Williams, did the characters that you encompass so well, the ones I continue to idolize, really not affect you the way they affected me? I like to think that they did. So whatever drove you to do what you did, I don't blame you. Not to oversimplify or downgrade your situation, because that is not my intention, but because I realize now that you're a role model to me. To give the world your gift for as long as you did, as sad as you were, I commend you. So the speech is a tribute to you, oh Captain, my Captain, for not only being my genie or my Bunker Hill Community College professor, but for being you. And I'm sorry you couldn't still stand upon your desk to look at things in a different way.
Rain is the best type of weather, and I'll tell you why. Rain is the best weather to listen to music to. Rain is the best weather to watch movies to. Rain is the best weather to sit in your car for 3.5 hours and write this paper. And talk about life and what it's all about, and tell yourself, hey, life's pretty cool, huh, Jake? Lots of stuff to do, lots of places to go, people to meet, hey, relationships to build, new things to try, songs to learn, showers to take, maybe even some track meets to go to. And dude, you got your whole life ahead of you, so why don't you just slow down there, bud, and not wish it away? You know what? Because life's hard. And a lot of the time, it's not so fun, and you're stressed, and nothing's really going your way. But Rain's there to say, hey, why don't you talk to yourself for a little while? Rain is usually associated with sadness, but what I've learned from the rain is that if you have something that can make you sad, like missing someone, or your pole vaulting team is getting evicted, or you realize that you'll never go to band practice with the same people ever again, you just have to be happy that you had something so special that it can make you feel this sad. Rain's sort of like another emotion for me. It's a therapist and a friend when I'm in need. Rain taught me that I'm really too young to feel this old, and nothing really matters in life anyway, because you're not going to make it out alive, so forget about how stressed you are with this paper, or this calculus test, or audition, and just enjoy life because you only get one. Sorry for the cliche, Mrs. Gittingham. But honestly, screw being unhappy, because everyone deserves to be happy. If you're not happy, get happy, because life is just so much easier happy. And don't be happy for anyone else, be happy for you. Because honestly, who are you trying to impress? Because Rain has taught me to be yourself. And I hope that you, too, can learn that one day.
102, August 24th, 2014. I feel perfect right now. Nothing specific, I'm just happy. 1:59, September 7th, 2014. It's so beautiful outside. I feel so good. No reason, just cuz. 5:56 a.m., October 10th, 2014. I'm awake to work out before school, and I'm just outside alone in the pitch black, smiling. I feel perfect. I always write down these moments on my notes app. It's the moments when I'm genuinely happy, just because I am. Why do I do this? Because at other times I type, I'm not okay anymore. I just want to not think. I'm really upset right now. FML. I think it's really important to remember that you do have good times. Sometimes stuff is really going to suck. we think our lives are terrible, but in these moments, the best thing to do is reflect on the good times. It doesn't even have to be the times when you went crazy or did something fun, just the times that you felt good. Having that note on my phone gives me a place to look when I'm sad. It reminds me that stuff is going to get better, and it always does.
This is a speech to simply talk about how much I miss my sister. And for those of you who are now saying, you have a sister? Yes, I have a sister. Her name is Claire. She's 10 years older than me, and she lives approximately 1,031 miles away in Austin, Texas. Due to our age gap, Claire and I were never close growing up. As a little kid, I always admired my cool, stylish teenage sister, but I showed my admiration by annoying her and her friends. As we both got older and the distance of college separated us, we became friends, best friends. After college, I thought, of course she'll move back to Louisville, but instead she decided on Austin, Texas. Now I wait for every holiday and her return to spend a couple of days with her. My only piece of advice for those whose siblings are still in town, or still in high school, or even in lower school, is that you should make the most of your time now, because before you know it, you're living 1,031 miles apart.
A problem teenagers often face is wanting more freedom. But is a lot of freedom good for our development? Although we're a country fundamentally based on freedom, having freedom in every aspect of our life wouldn't be beneficial, such as our freedom to make bad choices. The Center of Disease Control and Prevention is trying to ban smoking in all 50 states. People don't want this because it takes away a freedom, but it also encourages good choices. However, if this were to happen, people would start to buy cigarettes illegally, but regardless, the smoking rate would go down dramatically. The benefactor of removing this freedom is longer, healthier lives of our citizens. Another downside of too much freedom is it increases stress. Too many choices paralyze you. There is a heightened risk of making the wrong choice. Although our freedom is important and must be protected, too much freedom in daily life could hurt us rather than harm us.
So today I'm here to tell you guys why you should learn to cook. And I have four basic reasons. Number one, self-reliance. While I hope that you never have to survive completely on your own, it's nice to know that you can fend for yourself if you have to, whether it be when you're living on your own after college, or just on your own when your parents are out of the house. Number two, pride. Pride is a great feeling. One of the greatest sources of pride is the creation, especially things like the creation of art, or the creation of art, such as writing, like paintings, or cooking. Cooking is a form of art. And the pride you get from cooking can really make you feel good when you're having a bad day. Number three, the meal itself. When you cook something, you get to eat a hot meal, and there's nothing wrong with that. And last but not least, number four, the satisfaction of seeing people's smiles when they eat the food that you make. I think it's the most important reason, because it's really a good feeling when someone enjoys something that you make. So that's it. That's why you should learn to cook.
So, like last week, I had a pop quiz in art history on like the Roman Empire, and I didn't do the homework because I didn't get home until like 9:30 because of practice. Some of you all might not have even noticed, but I just said the word like 3 times in that sentence. Our generation is obsessed with the word like. It's been engraved into our language and our everyday conversing, so much that we've become oblivious to the fact that we're saying it and we don't hear it when other people say it. It's passed on to the generation below us as well. My 9-year-old sister uses it so much that it's distracting, so I can't even concentrate on what she's trying to say to me. It's also one of the more frequently used words in my 4-year-old sister's limited vocabulary. But talk to your parents or grandparents and you won't hear it. Even if what they're saying has no merit, they still sound wiser and more intelligent just by eliminating the word like from their vocabulary. For those of you all that were here in 5th grade, we had class meetings with the former head of the lower school, Mr. McCormick, and they were just to recap on the week. And although he was a little off, I think he was on to something that could have been super beneficial to us now. During our recap, we all had the chance to talk, but he would immediately cut us off and move on to the next person if we said like. Yeah, it seems harsh to do it to just little 5th graders, but if he hadn't have left and we continued his method, it would have been instilled in our brains today to not say the word like when it's not necessary. And we would sound smarter and more capable than the rest of our generation today.
Yes, my art is dark. It is often so dark that when you walk into the art building, you may think to yourself, wow, this kid needs serious help. But that darkness is not derived from traumatic experiences or the haunting pattern of mental illness in my family. One reason why my art is dark is because it helps me remember that there are still people who have many more issues than I could ever fathom. Which, understandably, sounds awful, but my dark art helps me to put my own life in perspective. When I drew the series on the global Iranian diaspora, I wasn't trying to put down the audience by pointing out how awful the religious minorities, ethnic minorities, people of the LGBT community, and women are treated in the country. But I was simply trying to put in place a sense of thanks. Thanks that we don't have to worry about being tortured and hanged for our religious affiliation or sexual orientation. And thanks that we are not stoned for being socially promiscuous or simply disobeying dress codes. My dark art is really just an exercise in mental health and awareness. And from my work, I am given a new perspective, and thanks for everything I have.
I love eggs. Today I'm going to tell you all about eggs. This may seem completely random to some of you, but if you do eat eggs, just think of how much your life would change if eggs were gone. Eggs go great with a balanced breakfast. They are perfectly paired with a piece of toast and orange juice or a bowl of cereal, whatever your preference be. Eggs are very healthy for people in so many ways, so here are a few reasons why you should eat more eggs. Eggs are great for the eyes. The nutrients in eggs help prevent macular degeneration, or simply put, loss of vision, pretty much. Eggs also contain 6 grams of high-quality proteins and 9 essential amino acids. Eggs are also one of the only naturally occurring sources of vitamin D. Eggs contain the right kind of fat. 1 egg contains just 5 grams of fat, while only 1.5 grams of that is saturated fat. These are just 3 of the many reasons why eggs are so healthy for people. While there are many different types of eggs, all are safe and beneficial to eat.
Lately I've been thinking a lot about high school and what exactly I'm doing spending 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 weeks a year here. It's an important question, seeing as how we are also invested in this place, but I never stop to actually think about the reality of it all. Here's what I know. Every day I come to the same building with the same artificial lighting under the assumption that I'm here to get prepared for real life. Like the past 17 years haven't been that important. I listen in class to amazing, interesting subjects, but then I'm tested on them for a grade. I have to be able to regurgitate specific facts as if my ability to fill in the proper test bubble on a Scantron will measure anything except my brain's retention capabilities under various levels of sleep deprivation. And why does this one grade matter? It determines my entire future. And no, that's not being dramatic. That grade goes into my GPA, which is seen by colleges, and as we well know, if something doesn't look good on college apps, then what's the point of it even existing? So now, instead of thinking in weekdays, I think in test dates. I fantasize about taking a week off to do literally anything else to exist outside of grades and extracurriculars and other BS conventions used to unfairly define me. But no, I still come here every day and I sit in study hall hurrying to finish a stupid Spanish busy work assignment because for some silly reason, the weight of my future rests on a completion stamp in the shape of a soccer ball. Don't get me wrong, I love school and the teachers and the people, but I'm really not a fan of the pressure of it all.
Mondays are the worst days of the week. No one likes Mondays. Monday is the first day back to school of a long and tiring weekend. Monday is the day that rudely interrupted your weekend with a 6 a.m. alarm that stops you in your deep sleep. This is why you should never go to school on Mondays. There's no point in attending school on this irrelevant and horrible day. When you arrive to school on Monday, you are tired and annoyed by everything because of the weekend that you just had that was cut short of sleep and joy. This makes the student grumpy and unfocused on the task that they have to get done at school. To solve this problem, Mondays should be edited out of the school year completely. This will give the students an extra day to get sleep that they need to be fully energized and ready for their long week ahead. During this Monday, you can sleep in and get all the work you didn't finish on Sunday done on Mondays. If Mondays were added to our weekend, we can not only get the sleep we need to be focused, but get all our work done in order to be fully prepared for a wonderful Tuesday at school.